What is up, everyone? It is Robert Bobby Jeter Hansen here with front 8 coverage of the 2024 Highland Open. This year we ran things a little bit differently. Typically this is a 2-round, 18-hole event. However, the tournament was pushed back to nearly the last week of November, so we decided to mix it up. What you are seeing is a new 24-hole version, 1 round, C-tier here in Bloomington, Illinois. For the MPO feature card, we're actually starting on hole 19. That way they can end on iconic hole 18. So this is hole 1 for the MPO, but technically hole 19 on the course. A 900-foot par 5. Pretty birdieable. This is played as one of the easier holes, actually. But there is OB that stretches all the way along the left side. And with the trees on the right, it's just easy to get your shots pulled over to the left. Our card features Edward Ward, Adrian Chevalier, Josh Menne, and Chris Reliford. That was Edward you saw tossing just there, as we see Adrian step up. It was a little cold. We teed off at 10 o'clock in the morning. A little bit of headwind, as you see he got that turned over. It was a little slippery on some holes. For some reason, the grass on this hole in particular played a little slick. Josh Menne going the low shot. At this time, I will also have to apologize to you. Typically, I have a specific person who shoots my catch cam and my pad cam, but one of them was incredibly sick for this event. So we actually had to do a Hail Mary and get an unexperienced catch cam person. And my catch cam person had to run the pad cam. So, admittedly, some of these shots are not caught that great. As we see Chris Reliford accidentally pulled his a little out of bounds. Josh Menne on his second also skipping out of bounds. This is Adrian for his second. Smashed. And that is way up there. Now we see Chris, I believe, throwing 3. A little bit of a slip, so he did not get the turn he wanted. That is hyzering out early. Couple big smashes. He'll be throwing 4 from pretty close to the basket. I think he's got about 100 feet left. As we see Edward Ward lining up his second. And that caught the tree right in front of him. As you can see it spiraling backwards. Solid third shot for Edward. Josh puts it right up there.
Nice.
Yeah, nice shot from Chris. For long throwers, this hole should have been pretty reasonable. However, this particular layout was played by all divisions, at least for the new 6 temp holes. So all divisions had to play this 900-foot hole. As we see our guys cleaning up. So a couple birdies, 1 bogey. And we're going to go ahead and move on. This is the 5th easiest hole on the course. Hole 20. Hole 2 for our MPO. And honestly, this is maybe my least favorite hole on the course. There's a tree. There's a river. There's a little bit of optical illusion here because the river looks like it's much closer to the basket than it is. That said, in my mind, this is a little bit of a filler hole, just kind of getting us around. We were trying to find places to put these extra 6 holes. It worked out. It's a fine hole. It's just not my favorite. You can go backhand. The tree doesn't block as much as it looks like it is, but I do think forehand is the play here. However, in a cold November, starting your day with a forehand isn't always the easiest. So that looked deep, but again, that river's actually farther back than it looks like it is. As we see Josh step up. Looked overturned, but this thing is overstable, and with that skipped, that's probably going to be right up in the circle. Chris also choosing for the forehand. Well done. A little bit of metal to start your day. Can Edward make this? Looks like about 35-footer. No problem. Adrian also trying to clean up his birdie. Almost made it to the water. It's not quite there. So here we see how far Josh has worked back. Curious what he threw there off the tee. No problem. Easy birdie. A little bit of foliage. And watch your head, Chris, with a little dunker. So we move on. We got a bunch of birdies and a par, and we are now on what we are calling the Madman hole. This is the shortest hole on the course, and yet the 9th hardest. Achieving a par, fairly easy. Getting a birdie, not so much. As you can see, the OB tightens super hard. There's maybe 15 to 20 feet of inbounds around the basket. So there's a few approaches. You can try to put it next to the basket and risk going OB by there.
I don't think so.
A little bit too much touch from Edward. He's going to be well short and out of bounds. Josh trying the forehand approach. You can do just about anything on this hole. Personally, I like the backhand skip shot. Try to get it to skip from the right towards the basket and hope it stays in bounds.
I highly doubt it.
You could putt off the tee and just go for the par. It's really a question of how aggressive do you want to get. As Chris goes, the hyzer forehand, and that is how it is done. Pinpoint accuracy. Check out this replay. That's back-to-back holes. He's put that right under the basket. Let's see what Adrian has for us. He's going back. He's going the jump putt. And again, this is kind of what I meant when I designed this hole. It is an easy par. You can go jump putt, tap in if you want the par. Adrian says, I want none of this hole. He's going to move on. Where's Edward? He's got probably 50 feet here trying to save his par. So a situation where a little more aggression actually would have paid off. Adrian for his second. This is still a tricky second shot. You don't want to roll OB. Yeah, he does that fine.
Didn't run it. Supposed to run it, buddy, and feels
Adrian says I didn't run it. I agree. Why didn't you put that in? Get after it, Adrian. All right, so we're trying to decide where Josh went out. And so see, with the OB so close, saving your par is reasonable. It just depends on how you want to attack this. I saw probably every kind of shot attempted. I saw straight at it that went long OB. I saw some park jobs. I saw some long putts.
No.
But for that short of a hole to be playing over par for the day just shows it was a little mad. As we step up to the 7th easiest 500-foot par 4. I really thought this would have been eagleable. However, everything about this hole pulls the shot to the right. Downward slope, headwind, trees. There's OB to the left and a golf green up left on the hill. So you naturally want it to stay away from up top, even though that would maybe make for an easier second shot. Whereas everything to the right, there's this low ceiling. Whereas Chris mashed it up there plenty far. Shouldn't be a problem.
He doesn't want to outtry you too bad. He's
He's not.
Oh my God.
He's throwing the octane instead of.
I'm not dying off this teacup again.
I said
I got PTSD already.
A little camaraderie on this card already. Typically, this is a pretty low-key event. It's a cool course. It's a really fun setup.
PTSD.
Friendships are made. That's an okay shot by Josh. I'm sure he would have liked a little farther, but there's nothing wrong with that. Definitely can attack the birdie from there. Adrian, probably looking to put a move on this. That is ripped, but that is turning. That's pretty much what I did on my shot. I was able to play in this tournament. I did okay. I ended up way over to the right as well. So we see Edward also going for a smash. But this is hooking up, and this is heading towards that golf green up there.
Hey, you're good.
And that is just barely out of bounds, maybe by a few inches. Yeah, Adrian out of position, but puts it up there.
Drop, please.
And that was maybe a little overly aggressive, maybe too fast. It is kind of a blind shot from over there a little bit. He'll have a putt. Probably not as close as he wants. Chris going for that jump putt there. Seemed to work out okay. All right, so Edward going to try to save the birdie from up on top of the hill. Did he do it? That was close. Okay, yeah, Josh skipped even farther away than I thought he did. Nothing doing, but that'll be a par. Chris for the birdie. Looked a little upset about that one. It's still early, still time to get your putt together. Adrian taps out nicely. These are temp baskets. The new 6 holes all used chain star lights, whereas the rest of the course had trilogy baskets. We see only one birdie managed. The rest pars. Hole 23. Hole 4 for these competitors. Hole 5? Hole 5 for these competitors. This is a blind shot. You cannot see this basket from the tee. It is steeply downhill, but a very short shot. This is one of those holes. If this was a multi-round event, I think players would have made the correction. Because you really want to put it farther right. The hole pulls your disc left, and you end up way left like Adrian is there. I think a lot of shots ended up in that place. So this is looking like a good correction. That should be fairly close. Again, I apologize. Some of the catch cam footage just was not usable. This is going to be another shot. It's to left. The basket is right under the farthest right edge of that tree. So anything that fades before that, you're going to end up over there left. This one might also be to left. I did see some fun rolls with the hill. We saw one skip early and roll all the way to the basket. Oh, just not in. Yeah, we kind of put this there. Some people just love the blind shot, so it's not crazy long. It was definitely attackable. But I do think if there was a round 2, more people would have got this one. Now, I will say the ground does play pretty fast on this hole. Just pops out. I thought that was perfect. Maybe a little low. Josh cleans up the par. Chris with the CTP of the hole. Nice birdie. And another hole that's not crazy long, but we only see one birdie from Chris and the rest pars. So, we are going to move forward. This is the final of the new holes, and then we'll get back to our traditional Highland Open layout. This is about 350 feet, and unlike any other hole on the course, the sidewalk actually plays as a river. So there's all kinds of out of bounds. The golf green is out of bounds. The sand trap is out of bounds. There's all kinds of stuff up there to get in your head. But if you just mash it, you should be fine. The shorter a thrower you are, the harder this hole becomes. But there's honestly no reason not to just bail out left, because there is no out of bounds if you go left of that sidewalk on this hole. Adrian going the direct route.
Yep.
That looked pretty great. Josh liked that line. He's going to do the same thing. That looked pretty great. Might be a little deep. .350 feet. Nothing for these long throwers. Josh just going. Edward just going pure hyzer, and that worked out pretty great. Good bit out of Chris. Nice two. And we have flipped the script for a hole. This time we've got 3 birdies and 1 par. As we approach hole 1 on the Highland Open course from the long pad, we will now see some mix-up between what the amateur divisions and the pro division play. MA1 also plays the long division. 600 feet, or 650 feet. We did move this back a little bit. We moved the tee pad back a little bit. I believe this is where we had it last year, but a couple years ago it was actually up and to the right. I like this forehand play. That's a fine spot. Anywhere around there, you have about 300 feet left to the basket. There is OB River left, OB sidewalk right. Yeah, a little short Adrian's, but that should be fine. Edward going the turnover. And they look great. Chris has a pretty big forehand. If you check him out on his Facebooks and his YouTubes, for a while he was screwing around with trying to throw like 500 or 600 feet with his forehand, huge run-ups. He can definitely put a move on one when he wants to. Not necessarily the footing today for that. Good shot out of Josh. I think he is going to be a little short there. Edward proving you can go backhand, backhand. And again, I think just a little short. You can hear the wind whistling through the trees to a certain extent. So far, everyone just a little short of that basket. We're going to have a lot of circle 2 looks. To me, this is the preferred play. I prefer going forehand here. Ignore the river. Throw something a little overstable. Try to dunk it in. Looking good so far. Yeah, and that'll do it. It's maybe 40, 45 foot. We're seeing a lot of really close C2 looks from this card, just not a whole bunch sticking yet. Looks like Edward kind of riding the jet stream of Josh's putt there. See if Chris can clean one up. This looks like maybe circle's edge. Yeah, Chris definitely seeming a little frustrated with his putt in the early going. Adrian from about 12 cleans it up. Bunch of par cleanups. As we move to the final hole of the front 8. Hole 2, par 3, 330 feet. Honestly, next year we might move this up. It says 12th easiest, played exactly par, but that does not mean everybody parred it. It was just equal parts birdies and bogeys. We do have a few ideas how to make this a little bit more spicy in the future. We have played it the same way the past few years. I really like this hole, but I do think it's time for a little bit of a tweak. So we'll see. Spoiler, this tee pad probably moving back.
No. Too much.
Or we combine this hole with the next hole. No, that'd be crazy. Yeah, so the problem with this hole, for the player, it is a low ceiling, but a steep hill. You have to throw something fast despite the fact it's a short hole, so it makes turning it over easy, makes fading out early easy. This is a smash from Chris.
That's stable.
So that's putting. It's still, as you can see, about 30 feet right of the basket. Every now and then you'll see somebody actually go long, actually get up on the hill, but it's just not easy to do. Nice shot from Adrian there. Coming out of the bush, I think this is Josh. And this is what hills can do to you. That got unfortunately straight and yet never curled over and came back down the hill. If it had, it might have helped him, but he's got like 50, 60 feet for this third shot. Should make for an easy bogey. Chris, this is a scary putt. 35 feet. And that's going down the hill at least a little ways. Edward claims one of those birdies I was speaking about. And so this card is going to be a pretty perfect example. Couple pars, one birdie, I'm sorry, a par, a birdie, and a double bogey? No, single bogey. Single bogey. I forgot that one from up top was for birdie. And so there you have it. We see the top 10. There were 23 players in the field, I believe. this is where we are sitting after 8. Please stay tuned for the middle 8 of this competition as things really start to heat up.